Today, on this Memorial Day weekend, the FARC Low Dollar Series takes on the Texas Motor Speedway, ahead of the ASCC's Texas 500. Mike Malone, in a last-minute entry with a brand new sponsor in Milton's Mustard, took his second pole in a row, and he's hoping to translate that to a second win in a row after his first FARC Low Dollar Series victory at ABQ last week. Mark Thompson and Jim Kidd are hoping to bounce back after being the first cars to go out of the race at ABQ, and the two wildcard spots would go to Lou Singer Jr. and Mo Lester. And they would be lucky to avoid the trophy dash, which was marred by a huge crash on lap 7 that occurred after Dalton Johnson got into the wall, and several of the most underfunded teams in the series piled in, totaling their cars. Jacob Eichholz in the 87 also took a wild ride, and when the dust settled, Marissa Raines in the number 9 for Firecracker Racing streaked away and took the win. The aftermath of this trophy dash is certainly very concerning for Team Burr and Dalton Johnson. John Burr himself came out and said that he wasn't sure what he was going to do to make the upcoming race at 7077 Speedway, since he only has one backup car between his 3 entries. And Dalton Johnson is already in a very turbulent situation, with his former car owner, Stan Coleman, having been arrested over the offseason. But now we will go trackside to bring you the highlights of the Patriot Cola Star Spangled Flavor 100. Mike Malone, hoping to do Milton's Mustard proud, takes the green flag, but in a repeat of last week at ABQ, he's going to lose the lead immediately to Manny Green, who takes off around the inside and slides into the early lead. Mark Thompson follows suit, while Malone is left to be swallowed up by the field for the second week in a row. But Manny Green's lead would be short-lived, as Chuck Johnson, carrying sponsorship this week from Larry Lemon Auto Sales, takes the lead. But now Johnson faces pressure from Mark Thompson, who makes the move to the inside but doesn't have the momentum down the backstretch. Johnson is very familiar with the Texas Motor Speedway, having won here in 2016 for his first career victory on his way to his first championship. But deeper in the field, Daniel Sharp gets into the back of Billy Ray Smith-Thompson and is helped into the wall by Timothy Ruiz. Noah Dallitz in the 63 had nowhere to go, but the 63 and 77 both keep it straight. However, the flagman threw the yellow anyway. I don't blame him, that looked like it was going to be a big crash, and even though it wasn't, there's still plenty of debris all over the front stretch. Noah Dallitz just can't catch a break, as he's had trouble in each of the first 4 races this year. Sometimes self-inflicted, sometimes not, and Mike Malone has gone up in smoke on his way into the pit lane along with most of the field. Malone, with his new sponsor, is only able to make 5 laps this week, but I do hope that Milton's Mustard will be back with him. Alexa Lake, teammate to outside pole sitter Manny Green, has also broken down on her way into the pits, and we've had a crash between Xander Massey and Rip Tyler. Tyler pulled right out in front of Massey and then smashed into the back of the 77, making Daniel Sharp's problems worse. And Rip Tyler is going to go out of the race with all of that damage. It seems like that more equipment has been broken during this caution than in the incident that caused the caution. 10 cars elected to stay out during this yellow, which was probably a wise decision given everything that transpired in the pit lane. Vitaly Solikov, team owner of Roos Autosport, led the field to the restart. Billy Ray Smith-Thompson, defending series champion, right behind him. And Team Boss Vitaly, as he's affectionately called, takes off, not giving Smith-Thompson the opportunity to pounce on him. Andre Canassa and Dan Leckliter run 3rd and 4th, but Mark Thompson starts slicing his way back through the field. Thompson was originally scheduled to drive the 89 car in this race for Walker Texas Racing, while car owner Kurt Walker drove the 98 himself. But Walker changed his mind and left Thompson in this car after winning the season opener. Todd Stater almost goes out of the race after getting together with Zach Webster, but these two aren't going to let a little contact bother them as they power by Dan Leckliter anyway. But now Webster has the upper hand as he gets under Stater and passes him for 6th, followed by Kenny George in the 50. Meanwhile, Mark Thompson has gotten around Billy Ray Smith-Thompson and now takes the lead from Vitaly Solikov quite easily, even with tires that are only about 4 laps fresher. But now we've got another yellow on lap 12 as Carrie Fenton gets turned around after contact with Grant Carson's in the 86, but nobody else hits her, and she keeps going. However, M&J is batting 1,000 on getting involved in cautions today. Mark Thompson leads the field down pit road. Everybody is pitting this time around. The teams that did not pit during the first caution will certainly be taking tires this time. However, Mark Thompson, among several others, elects to take fuel only, and you just saw the 41 team taking Zach Webster's car behind the wall. Webster had made his way up to third, but we're hearing the suspension had collapsed on that car. Again, we've had more equipment breaking during the yellow than in the incident that caused the yellow, and that's Daniel Sharp going up in smoke right after the restart. He was running a lap down. Meanwhile, Todd Stater pounces on Mark Thompson, trying to take the lead off of turn 2. Anthony Griffith tried to follow suit, but cut right across Kenny George's nose. But he's unfazed by that as he keeps his run on Todd Stater going. And Anthony Griffith takes the lead for the first time this season, his return to Team Thunder. He won on debut with this team all the way back in 2006, and after some time in the TM Master Cup Series, he returns for a full-time FARC ride. Vitaly Solikov is making some moves on his way back into the top 10 with those fresh tires, getting by Aaron Coultier and now taking on Manny Green quite easily. This will be his last run in the number 45 car that he owns alongside the 82 of Sergei Yakovsky. Todd Stater has some problems from second place. A tire's gone down, and he almost caused a wreck on his way into the pits. A very sudden left turn into the pit lane. We've seen Noah Dallet sticking himself in between other cars before, and he is certainly doing that right now. Running without a hood, back in 23rd place, and going 3 wide with Keegan Mallory and Todd Lacey. Keegan Mallory backs out of that situation. Noah Dallet is still on the lead lap, still running competitively with some of the other cars, even though he's far down in the field. His teammate Carrie Fenton is not faring much better after her spin. Ryan Bolden in the 303 and Timothy Ruiz in the 212 have made their way up through the top 5. Bolden has just taken second from Ruiz. Bolden aims to do what Ruiz did last year and make a big splash on a limited schedule. This is shaping up to be his best run so far. Xander Massey now has a problem, and as he makes his way into the pit lane, he gets hit by Keegan Mallory and now gets spun by Flash Bolton in the 01, making his debut. Welcome to the FARC Low Dollar Series, Mr. Bolton. But now all 3 of the M&J racing cars have been involved in incidents, though this one did not prompt a yellow. Vitaly Solikov has made his way back into the top 5, getting around Mark Thompson, and now coming after Timothy Ruiz. Solikov, taking advantage of his fresher tires, could put himself in position for a great result despite his relative inexperience and his much more advanced age compared to much of the field. Going on board with Mark Thompson, who now tries to take advantage of Solikov and Ruiz, slowing themselves down as Solikov moves around Ruiz for third, but Thompson just loses his momentum off of turn 2. The inside of Texas Motor Speedway here is a little bit slick compared to the middle and the top lines. Just past the halfway point, working lap 37 of 67, and Anthony Griffith is starting to hit some heavier groups of lapped cars. The most annoying of which is probably Carl Hampton in the 99, who was running a lap down, but very competitive with the leaders. And now we look back at the battle for 6th between Dan Lechleiter and Kenny George. Lechleiter returning to full-time FARC Low Dollar Series competition after skipping 2017 is shaping up to have his best result in these first 4 races. But right behind these guys, Billy Ray Smith Thompson, who took tires under the last yellow, is now making use of them and trying to work his way up towards the top 5. He's one of the fastest cars on the track right now. Xander Massey is following the 42, but Massey is a lap down after his flat tire and a subsequent spin, but Timothy Ruiz is in trouble. Bad luck strikes the 212 team once again. He had crashes at Sayre and Albuquerque, and now mechanical troubles will put him several laps down. Manny Green and Jim Kidd are wishing that their races are going better right now, as they are stuck down in 13th and 14th. Manny Green, after sitting on the outside pole, has fallen back quite a bit, and Jim Kidd, after being the first car out at Albuquerque, was hoping to make up some of those points on Mark Thompson, but he's currently losing out even more to his championship rivals. Sergei Yakovsky, running at the tail end of this group, is also wishing for a better day. In fact, he's had a very slow start to the year, failing to qualify for 2 races, and his only previous start resulting in a 19th place finish at Sayre. I'm sure he isn't too proud of his team owner, Vitaly Solikov, who isn't an experienced race car driver, outrunning him greatly today, but Solikov has just gotten passed by Mark Thompson for 3rd after being boxed in behind the lapped car of Noah Dalitz. And Ryan Bolden, the rookie, has gotten closer and closer to Anthony Griffith, but he's racing the veteran very respectfully right now, waiting for an opportunity to make the pass. But he can't wait for too much longer because Mark Thompson is creeping up on these two very rapidly. We've got 18 laps to go right now, and Mark Thompson is sick of finishing 2nd. Bolden gets into the back of Anthony Griffith, giving him a nudge. He's feeling the pressure for sure. And as Mark Thompson is setting those two up, here comes Billy Ray Smith Thompson after the 45 of Vitaly Solikov for 4th. Smith Thompson and Solikov took tires at the same time, but Billy Ray Smith Thompson, the defending series champion, has managed his tires so much better, hanging back until it was go time while Solikov burned them off very quickly, trying to get back into the top 5. Ryan Bolden sees an opportunity to box Anthony Griffith in behind the lapped car of Andrea Canassa. That moves Bolden up into the lead, but he still has Mark Thompson to deal with, and more lapped traffic on the way. They're able to get by the 13 and the 64 now, but Thompson is right on the 303's bumper. It's only a matter of time unless Thompson makes a huge mistake. And even then, Billy Ray Smith Thompson is coming. Griffith finds himself trapped behind the 13 of Aaron Coultier now. Smith Thompson takes 3rd. And it's interesting how Aaron Coultier, who has just hit the wall, has consistently found himself a factor as a lapped car towards the end of the races this year. Coming to 8 laps to go. Another traffic jam in front of the leaders. And Billy Ray Smith Thompson effortlessly slides to the outside and gets around Mark Thompson for 2nd as Thompson is preoccupied with the 6 of Keegan Mallory. This is certainly not what Thompson and Bolden wanted to see, as Billy Ray Smith Thompson proves why he's the champion as he quickly dispatches the 303 of Ryan Bolden. And after a slow start to the season with a best finish of 13th at Sayre, Billy Ray Smith Thompson is going to take off with 7 laps to go. Mark Thompson got around Bolden for 2nd, but it's going to be an uphill battle unless we get a caution within the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, Grant Carson's in the 86 is trying to recover from his slow start to the season, which even saw him fail to qualify for the season opener. He's running 6th, but it's a very distant 6th place from Vitaly Solikov. Battle for 9th is one to watch in these closing laps. Donnie Ashcroft makes the move around Dan Lechliter, bringing Rick Forrest with him. Forrest in the 8 is trying to make it 2 Pearson Sweeney cars in the top 10. Harry Asinola, the 3rd of the Pearson Sweeney drivers in the 2, has to watch from the sidelines as he dropped out with an engine failure that our cameras did not catch under the first caution. Donnie Ashcroft now sees an opportunity to grab 8th, coming to 2 laps to go, as Chuck Johnson, who has settled into the tail end of the top 10 all race long, got trapped behind the 82 of Sergei Yakovsky, but Johnson escaped from behind the 82 and is now fighting back around the outside. The inside line still tough to work with. Donnie Ashcroft just nosing ahead, however. But back up front, Billy Ray Smith Thompson would remain unchallenged, driving away from Mark Thompson after managing his tires perfectly, and his strategy will pay off with his first victory of the year. And Mark Thompson's going to have to settle for his 3rd runner-up finish in the first 4 races, which, as frustrating as that might be, is still a very impressive average. Ryan Bolden finished 3rd in his 3rd ever start, and Vitaly Solikov grabs a top 5 in his last race before turning that 45 car over to Ruslan Bashimov next week. 12 cars finished on the lead lap in what turned out to be a very clean race with much fewer casualties than some people were probably predicting after the trophy dash. Timothy Ruiz was the last car to finish the race, and that could have been a much better result considering he had mechanical troubles while running second. And now looking at the point standings, it's no surprise that Mark Thompson extends his lead, rebounding from his trouble at ABQ. Anthony Griffith took second from Chuck Johnson. Jim Kidd made his way back to fourth after Joshua Pacer skipped this race, and you saw Billy Ray Smith Thompson jump all the way up to fifth after his win. Kurt Walker is still hanging on to the top 20 in points despite only running one race. It just goes to show how some of these guys are struggling to start the season. But the next race could be a wild card as we go dirt racing for the first time in 2018 at the 7077 Speedway for the Vicker Collision and Glass 100. And as always, you can catch the highlights right here on the FARC Racing Network.